killed 10 people in a grocery store in Buffalo will be in court. According to police, the shooter had a clear intention to kill Black Americans. Now the focus shifts to stopping hate crime. Overnight, the U.S. House of Representatives voted to elevate the government's efforts to fight domestic terror threats. And New York's governor is issuing several executive orders like the one to track extremist threats on social media. This morning, we're discussing further how this shooting impacted the Black community. Joining us now is our racial equity expert, Dr. Rosemarie Allen. Good morning.
Good morning, Natasha. How are you?
I'm good. And this is just another difficult story about hate crime. Can you talk about the trauma to the Black community?
Absolutely. This shooting has reopened old wounds, and it's a reminder of the historical trauma, the violence, lynchings that the Black community has endured for many, many decades, even centuries. And it really gets us in touch with this racial trauma, also called race-based traumatic stress, because it really mimics and looks like PTSD. So it impacts us physically, psychologically, emotionally, and it causes this deep emotional pain and suffering that seems not unending.
Right. It reopens these wounds. It forces us to look back. But what about the future generations, the younger generation? How does it impact them?
Well, what's so sad is that the children see themselves reflected in this violence, and they become preoccupied with their own safety and wondering if it can happen to them. It causes a lot of mental health issues, difficulty sleeping, loss of appetite, a lot of anxiety, even depression.
Yeah. What can parents and teachers do?
First, acknowledge the child's feelings and help them understand that all feelings are okay. Whatever you're feeling is okay. But also, we want to get rid of this feeling of hopelessness. So we want to help to empower them, have them write letters to lawmakers, participate in vigils, peaceful protest. But sometimes those emotions can become so big that we have to seek professional help.
And I think oftentimes we forget the impact that the news has on children.
Absolutely. And when we replay it, when it's showing over and over, some children believe it's happening over and over. So we really need to decrease screen time when it comes to this type of violence.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you coming on the show, Dr. Rosemarie Allen, and having a thoughtful conversation about what is next, in terms of action too, and having that hope that, action can still be made.
Absolutely. We can't lose hope. Things have to get better. This is unsustainable.
Dr. Allen, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
And remember, if you need to talk to someone immediately, help is always one call or text away. You can reach out to Colorado Crisis Services. That number is 844-493-8255. You can also text the word TALK to 38255.